guys, it's Yuri Kasdorp here from Oracle Red Bull Racing Esports, and today I'm bringing you a track guide around Interlagos and the BMW M4 for week 10 of the VRS series on iRacing. So come at the last corner here, very long run up the hill to start our lap and to keep the car down the inside. We can use the pit entry here, just to make our corner a bit shorter or run it towards the line a bit shorter. I'm going to use the 50 marker here as a breakpoint. Slowly start moving the car to the inside. Try to set up for a good exit out of turn 2, turn 3. With a long run up until turn 4. Try to avoid the off track on the exit here. Keep it smooth up the hill. I'm right-handed, try to bring the car up to the right. Use the curbs on the inside here. Use the curbs here for a very long time as well. Bring the car over slowly to the left. Watch the exit there. And coming up to the last corner, we want to maximize our corner entry all the way to the right. Set up for a good exit. And again, long run up the hill. Want to keep the car to the outside, but not turn too sharp to scrub speed off. Keep the car to the left side. Start lining for turn 1 again. And that's the lap around Interlagos in the BMW M4. Right, so here we are on the track to have a closer look at the lap that we just did. Running up to turn 1, we're going to be looking to bring our car over to the right side. Slowly to the right side. And then there's this outside of the white line. It's a bit bumpy, but we can still use this part of the track. And then we want to line the car up, straight line next to the wall, and look for the 50 sign. And we want to brake around that 50 sign, depending on the weather or your fuel, maybe even tiny bit after the 50 sign. So to line the car up. Once we start braking here, we want to go in a straight line as possible. And then quite early start coming towards the inside a bit. The corner radius starts closing down, and if you start turning in too late, we're gonna have to slow down too much to get towards the inside apex. So we want to come in, start braking, and then quite early start making it towards the inside, and we want to hit the inside curb here. And then we want to keep the car as far to the left as possible, so that turn 2 and turn 3 afterwards can be full throttle. So we want to make sure that we sacrifice the left-hander, turn 1 a bit, so that we can have a good exit out of turn 2, turn 3 onto the next straight. I want to keep the car to the left. I want to make sure that turn 2 is flat, turn 3 is flat, and then turn 2, if you look from the outside cam, you can use a bit of the grass on the inside here. That won't immediately give you an off track. So you can use a bit of the inside grass. If you take too much of that inside grass, it upsets the car. But we can take a tiny bit of the inside grass here to help make turn 2 flat out. Then you want to get to the inside curb here for turn 3. And then again, slowly start trailing the car to the outside. Got to run to turn 4. Into turn 4, we want to be looking at the small curve in the white line on the right side. It's quite far after the 100, even after this support rod, which we sometimes use as a braking point. We want to use the kink in the white line as a reference where to start braking. And we want to make it up until the curb on the inside. We want to start braking where the kink is, down to 30, and we want to use this inside curb here to get the car rotated a bit. And make sure to not apex too early here. If you apex too early, we're going to struggle with keeping the car inside the track limits on the corner exit, which is a big issue here in turn 4. So I want to apex quite late. I had slight oversteer moment here. So maybe you even want to be a bit more on the curb than I was here. And then on exit, we want to make sure to not run too wide on the exit. The limit here is about the left side tires onto this curb here. It's very easy to go a bit wide. Car tends to understeer a bit here on exit. and collect the off track here and invalidate the lap. So we want to try to avoid that. Again, try to get a good run out of turn 4 to the run up to turn 5 and 6. We're running in 4th gear here, line the car up on the left side, straight as possible. There's no real reference here for turning. We want to just tap the brakes, go to 3rd gear and carry quite a lot of speed in. And in this corner, turn 5, 6, it depends a lot how your car's set up and how the car is going to behave and what kind of driving style we want here. In my case, I'm driving the BMW M4, and the BMW M4 tends to understeer on corner entries. That means that I can go into the corner quite fast and rely on that rear downforce, the rear grip that I have, to keep the car under control into the corner, even though I'm going in quite fast and lift or brake quite long into the corner like here. Now you get to the middle of the corner. From this point, we want to start building the throttle again. Want to get towards the inside curb and then slowly track the car out to the outside and get ready for the first hairpin. On the outside curb here, we can look from the outside as well. You're allowed to go quite far to the left side, use a lot of the curb here. Want to brake in a straight line. And then try to get the first hairpin set up in 2nd gear. We'll go to the inside cam again. Want to use it in 2nd gear. Again, if you look from the outside cam and on the apex as well, we can use a lot of the inside curb here. There's no real track limits of using the inside curb. If you use too much, just like in turn 2, you'll start losing time because there's no grip on the inside grass. But we can get very close to the inside grass, all the way over the curb, and the white line you see is even a half car further to the left. We're still allowed to use this part of the track here. This won't be an off track. Then it's a 2nd hairpin. In some corners, in some cars, you might want to use 1st gear here to get that last bit of rotation into the corner. With the BMW, I can keep it in 2nd gear and brake quite deep into the corner instead to again have that bite on the front end. And in this corner, it's very important to at least be on the curb or very close to the white line and stay close to that for a very long time. So we want to brake, get close to this white line and try to follow this edge of the curb quite long until we're almost at the exit. And what that does is, if we get to the bottom here and we're still on the inside, so if you look from the outside cam as well, we're still on the inside, we're still following the white line. We can go on throttle really early and the car will stick and keep doing the corner and we can track to the outside curb. If we get to the corner and we're not following this inside, meaning that we understeered a bit towards the outside here, the car won't have that front end grip to keep rotating and we'll have to wait too long to go back into the power out of this corner. So we want to make sure to brake into the corner so that either 2 wheels are on the inside curb or following close to the white line. It's very important here. That way you can go on throttle very, very early, track to the outside curb without the car understeering going into the grass. We get to the 3rd consecutive hairpin. This corner here, we want to start going towards the outside to open the next corner up. You don't have to be on the white line, but at least bring the car up quite far to the left side. And downshift, you can use 1st gear here as well, again to get a bit more rotation into the corner. So 2nd gear to 1st gear, try to use the curb on the inside. And this one, if you go from the outside cam, you don't quite want to be up to the grass because this curb is a bit higher. So you want to be fairly close there, but not quite on the inside grass, maybe a bit less than ours in this lap to get a bit of better exit out of this. On exit here, especially the BMW will struggle on traction. So what you want to do is once you start going throttle, you want to start opening the steering quite early. And the issue with that is that you need to be very careful on the exit here. If your car's, if you go from the outside cam, if your car is even halfway on this line, so the middle of the car is on this white line, you start getting an off track already. So you want to be very careful of not taking too much of the off track there. And for that, you'll need to angle your car nicely in this corner here, especially once the tire get a bit more worn. Now we got the down on left-hander. This corner is normally quite a tricky corner. In the current GT3 cars, it should be easy flat out. So we just want to minimize the friction we have, take a smooth line through the corner, follow the inside curb, and then just let the car slowly track out wide. Then we get to probably the most important corner of the track, the last corner. This corner is so important because all the entry speed you carry is focused on getting a fast exit out of the corner. So we want to slow down a bit before the corner and make sure that the exit speed we carry out of the corner is carried all the way up the hill, all the way back to the start-finish straight. So what we want to do is want to make sure that we go over as far to the right side as possible. And that's where the first thing starts. There's 2 track limits from the corner exit of this corner up until the entry to the next corner. And that switch starts where this curb ends. Before this curb ends, we want to make sure to have our tires, the left side tires, lined up with the white line. So like this, we want to have the left side tires lined up with the white line. And then the moment the curb ends, we are allowed to use all of this AstroTurf on the right side, so far so that the middle of the car is allowed to be on the edge of the drain pipe here. So the moment we start coming off the curb here, we can go to the right and open this last corner up to the point where the middle of the car can be on the edge of this drain pipe. So we want to use as much road as we possibly can here. You see we're way off the white line. As much road as we possibly can, again, to try to set up for a good exit onto start-finish straight. We want to brake quite early, get the car into second gear, get the car rotated, and you see where we start turning in. We're way off the track still. We want to use as much of the track as we possibly can. And we get to the corner, and we want to make sure that we're on throttle really, really early. Again, all of this is focused on trying to get a good run up the hill. This is a very, very long straight line going up the hill, and that time that we carry out of the corner here, that speed will carry all the way up the hill. So we want to make sure to come into the corner slow, brake down quite a lot, and then have a very late apex, be on throttle really early, have the grip for it, and then carry all the speed all the way up the hill. And then the run up the hill, we're going to benefit from that extra speed we carry out of the corner. We want to keep the car going on the inside. We don't want to turn too much, but we still want to make sure that we carry a short line towards the start finish. We don't want to steer too fast because that will scrap a bit of speed of the car, but we just have a smooth input, stay down the inside. And then on the last corner here, we are allowed to use the pit entry as racing track. So we can bring the car all the way up to the left side barriers and bring the car over towards the start finish line. For a quali lap, we can stay close to the wall. If we're in a race lap, we can start bringing the car over again up until turn 1. And that's the lap in the M4 around Interlagos. So that was a lap around Interlagos in the M4. As you can see, the track is quite wide, but it's still very tricky in a lot of spots, and very important to keep that exit speed up out of the last corner and out of the first couple corners onto the straights. I hope you enjoyed it. For more content like this, make sure to subscribe to Coach Dave Academy, and we'll see you all next week.